I suppose in 1969 or 70 maybe 90, when there were two of us, two boys. We were at school together, and we were friends. And one day we did some animation. Now that sounds kind of accidental or something. I don't remember particularly desiring to animate, but one day we tried it, and now today in 2015, animation is very accessible to anyone with a computer. But back then, in 1970, it was an unusual, extremely unusual thing to do. We did it because we had access to a camera, and when you've tried animation, when you've brought something to life, however simple, it's very, very compelling and addictive. So we did it. We did something, just things moving. I thought, oh, that's great. Showed it to our friends, and then we tried again, and oh, that's interesting. Now, we were doing something unique in our world. And then we were about 16 years old, I suppose, or 17 years old. So that's when it started. And then, not long after, maybe 2 years after, we made a film about a character that we called Aardman, the company name, which is quite a mystery. Because, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything, really. Because when we were 16, 17, we were aware of an animal called an aardvark, a South African ant-eating animal, and we thought that was a very funny name. And so that was all. We thought it was funny. So we took the Aard from aardvark and the man from Superman and put them together, and we made a superhero that we called Aardman. And then we made a very short film, 20 seconds long, featuring Aardman. And then we sold it to the BBC, and the man from the BBC said, "Thank you. Here's your £20 or something. So we need to write a cheque. Who should we make the cheque out to?" And so that was when we chose the name Aardman for the company. I mean, like what I suggested, that nobody else was doing it, no one we knew was doing it, and it felt a powerful thing to do. It felt a special thing to do. Like when you're at school, some kids are really good at guitar, and some kids are really good at football, and this was the thing that we could do that no one else could do. So that was special, and so I think that was important, And then, I should say, for complete accuracy, that there was some nepotism involved in this, because there always, in every story, there should be some nepotism, and Dave's father had a connection with a man in the BBC, so he put us in contact with a producer, and so when we were still at school, we were selling short films for £25 or something, very little money, but quite a lot of money then. So we had an income, so that encouraged us, and we were in the media. It was quite. When we were still at school, our work was shown on TV, so that felt powerful. But obviously, we weren't committed to the business because we studied different things. That Dave studied geography, and I studied English literature, so we never studied animation as such at all. We went to university and did different things, and then we'd meet in the vacations to make short films. It was kind of opportunist, we thought, this might work, we thought. And in 1976 we graduated from different universities, and we thought, we'll see if this could be a career. Maybe we'll try it. We'll give it a try, which we did, and it worked. It worked. And there was about 5 years when it was a bit marginal. When it was quite marginal. we had success. But this fellow with Morph, because he wasn't just something animated. He had a character, and we made a series of films about him. And there was a sense that we were at the start of something big, but actually, it didn't quite work. We saw like the competition in British TV, and we thought, okay, we'll make these films, and then there'll be some money to be made from T-shirts and toys and stuff like that, and then we'll make some more. But it never quite worked out as we hoped, and so in 1980, we nearly gave up because there was no workaround, not much workaround. And actually, the thing that stopped us, the thing that saved us, actually, that was lucky, that was great timing. It was in Britain. They started a new TV channel called Channel 4, and Channel 4 started with a mandate to commission animation, and so that really, I think, we've been very lucky. When I think about it, when I think about our career, I just think we've been very, very lucky. We've had very good timing and been lucky, and Channel 4 was one excellent piece of good luck, just at the right time too. And for them, we made more adult films and therefore got a different audience, and that was good. I think I always think our trajectory has been very steady, upwards in terms of growing success. There was that slightly difficult time in 1980 when we nearly gave up, and then when Channel 4 started and commissioned work, we obviously felt more confident, and we took on the first employee. And I think the first person we took on was Richard Starzak, who's now just made the Shaun the Sheep movie, and that must be 32 years ago or something. So that's a long time. That's a long time as well. That's amazing. And then shortly afterwards, Nick Park, and that proved to be a smart move. We didn't know. Of course, we didn't know how smart it would be. We met Nick when he was a student at the National Film School, and we could see he was very good. That was obvious. That was, But we didn't know how good. We didn't. Because he hadn't finished his film. He was in the middle of a film which was eventually called A Grand Day Out, about Wallace and Gromit, and he was just starting. In fact, he was so much just starting that he was developing the style right before our eyes almost, and Wallace had a line of dialogue which I think was, "We've forgotten the crackers." He said, "We've forgotten the crackers," and Nick animated it once, and it was all right. It was just "We've forgotten the crackers," kind of small, and then he thought, "That's not very funny," so he did it again with this very exaggerated mouth that Wallace now has, this great big mouth that comes out to here. "We've forgotten the crackers," and when you saw that, we just laughed. We just laughed because it was funny animation. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a funny line. It was just funny, just profoundly funny. And I thought, that's a good trick. And so we invited him to join us, and we said, the deal was, come and join us, and you can finish making A Grand Day Out in our studio, because he was going very slowly. He was making this film. He was a student, remember, at the National Film School, and in those days, the National Film School was so strangely organised that you could stay there forever if you wanted to, And so, but he had no money, so he came to join us, and then he finished it, and as it went along, everyone could see, this is very good, But even then, we didn't know how good, and it gradually became clear over the next 3 or 4 years that he was, a comic genius. which he is. With the Grand Day Out, there was only one animator. That was Nick. When he did the wrong trousers, he had to let go some of that extreme control, and he had to trust other animators, including me, actually, to do the wrong trousers. So we had like 3 or 4 animators for the wrong trousers. And that was, for Nick, that was a big change. You know, he was used to doing everything himself, but now suddenly he had to trust other people to do performance for him. Then with Close Shave, a bit bigger, 6 or 7 animators he had to trust. And as it gets bigger, the animator director, who's Nick, does less and less animation. It's inexorable. So he does less animation and more directing, because he's trying to make sure that everyone else is doing what he wants. But then Chicken Run, it was much bigger, because suddenly it was 20 animators, and they didn't exist. You know, so we had to train. We did a training course in Bristol at the university for 10 new animators, which was very, very successful. And of those 10, 7 are still very, very successul animators. Some of them are still with us, so that was great. So scale. So you know, and if you've got 20 animators, then now you need 30 cameras, you know, and then you need 4 lighting DOPs to people to, and then you need lots of electricians and so everything became a lot bigger. And sometimes when I talk about it, I sometimes might say carelessly, "Oh, we had to industrialise the process." Industrialise is a terrible word, you know. Nobody wants to hear that. But what I mean is just take the small scale process and make it much, much bigger. That's what I really mean. But it worked very well, and you know, it's great. And a lot of those people that worked on Chicken Run are still working with us now, so we have great continuity. Great continuity. The most difficult thing actually is that all our history and our instinct is director based. You know, it's like our films have always come from writer director animators. You know, someone is going to finish this job and start it, and they've got to love it so much and understand it so well that they can, you know, fight for 4 years or something to make it perfect. You know, and that requires enormous commitment and an enormous talent, which isn't not very easy to find. So I can't at Aardman say there are. I mean, how many people are there that could direct? 4 that could maybe direct a movie. You know, that's quite a lot, I suppose, but that's quite a lot. Yeah, but then yes. So I spend some time trying to get a story started off the ground, like perhaps the metaphor might be like an aeroplane that tows a glider up into the air, you know, and then the aeroplane lets go and the glider has to fly by itself. I'm being that aeroplane, maybe trying to be that aeroplane.